All right, so let's get ahead and get started on today's webinar, FSC Risk Hub in Focus. We will get started now since there is a lot to cover. My name is Yannicka Murphy, and I am the Policy Outreach Manager of FSC International. And let's go into a brief overview and some ground rules of today's webinar. So today we are diving into risk. First, we will start with an overview of our FSC Risk Assessment Framework, which you may recall was published last year. Our updated FSC risk assessments are being published on our new platform called FSC Risk Hub, which we will be showing you today. We just published our first updated FSC risk assessment for Romania, which we look forward to chatting about and show a little bit about what's ahead beyond that. Why do risk assessments even matter? Well, we'll tell you about that as well. And this is just the first step along the way. We'll talk about how to get and stay involved in this journey. So today we are pleased to offer simultaneous translation into French and Spanish. To access simultaneous translation, you can do this by selecting the icon on the bottom right and indicating the language that you want to hear this presentation in. Just giving a brief moment here for our Spanish and French speakers on the call to read and update their Zoom controls as needed. So, a little housekeeping before we get into it. This webinar is indeed currently being recorded, and you will soon find it on our YouTube channel in case you missed something or want to go ahead and share it further. We will be answering questions in writing throughout the presentation. There will not be a Q&A at the end, so if you have a question, go ahead and place it immediately. If you want something clarified, we have plenty of experts on the call today who are ready to provide answers for you. And how exactly can you do that? It is through this Q&A box that you can also see in your control panel. So look for the icon that you see on the screen here and encourage you to upvote any questions that you also believe are relevant so we can be sure to prioritize those of most interest to the participants. And the last reminder is to please insert your questions anonymously to preserve your own personal data. And with that, I would like to invite my colleague, Nico, to introduce himself and take the presentation further.
Thank you very much, Yannicka. Hello, everybody. So, my name is Nicolas Messia. Everybody calls me Nico at FSC. I'm working in the country requirements program at the Policy Performance Unit. And my main area of work is actually the revision of normative requirements for risk assessments. So, let's get started then. As Yannicka already explained, we already turned 1 year since the publication of our new risk assessment framework. This FSC framework sets the requirements about how to assess and mitigate the risk of sourcing from supply areas. So the framework, so basically, develop a risk assessment. The developers have to follow the FSC framework. The FSC risk assessment assesses the risk of sourcing material from supply areas and establish mitigation measures to address those identified risks. Companies can use the mitigation measures from the assessment or propose their own mitigation measures that are considered more effective and fit to their context. The risk assessment is a document that contains indicators covering several key requirements for FSC, such as high conservation values, human and labor rights, environmental protections, among others. So why are risk assessments important to FSC? They help to understand the potential risks that exist in a country, in a region, or part of a country regarding the different requirements that are key in the FSC certification system. So the framework contains more specifically 64 indicators covering a range of topics that involve environmental, social, and economic aspects of our organization and align with our values. As part of the revision of this new framework that we published last year, we not only align with the FSC policy to address conversion, but we also align our requirements with the EUDR. Yeah. So some of the indicators that we have are actually having been inserted in this new framework in alignment with UDR, but also several of the requirements that we already had in our previous framework for control wood have been maintained, of course, all of them, but also some modifications were made in towards this alignment with UDR and other important policies at FSC. Okay, so in the case of risk assessment developed through centralized process, the key steps include developing a draft, consulting it for 30 days, then preparing a final draft based on the consultation results, decision making and publication. The comments received from stakeholders on published risk assessments will also then be reviewed annually, which applies to both centralized and major type of processes. Major type of processes are those developed by chamber balance working groups. In the case of the centralized risk assessments are predominantly developed by consultants with project support from the responsible organization. Experts can be consulted along the process when applicable. Okay, so the procedure outlines the core 5 steps in developing an FSC risk assessment. These are determine the scope, gather and assess information, which includes gathering sufficient evidences to assess each of the 64 indicators, determine the geopolitical scale and source types, designate risk as either negligible or non-negligible, depending, of course, on the evidences that have been collected, which will allow us to identify which are all the risks that are connected to that specific indicator. And for those indicators that are designated as non-negligible risks, then mitigation measures have to be established, which can be either recommended or mandatory. In the case of centralized processes, they are all recommended. So, as I mentioned, we have two types of risk classification, which is negligible and non-negligible. The negligible is where there is no concern, but non-negligible means don't ignore the risk. So for every non-negligible risk, every risk connected to that indicator, mitigation measures are required. Yeah, and that's mandatory for, like I said, for the developers of risk assessments. So the framework has a few related components. We have a risk assessment template based on the framework. This template is the foundation for a simplified risk assessment, an FSC risk assessment, and also used to support the development of extended company risk assessments. These are applicable in different situations, as outlined in this slide, where, for example, the simplified risk assessments can only be used when sourcing FSC 100% to conform with the regulatory module. The regulatory module is used as a tool to demonstrate conformance with the UDR, and it's voluntary. But today, we are focusing on the FSC risk assessments who have been developed or are being developed based on a specific country, based on specific countries. If you want to get more information about the FSC Risk Assessment Framework, please access the FSC Risk Assessment page, which is in FSC Connect. At the end of this presentation, we will be sharing the link. Now I would like to give the floor to my colleague Rehab, who will be presenting information about the Risk Hub. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I am Rehab Ahmad Raihan Choudhury. I am a GIS manager working in FSC International, and I involved in this project for development of this risk hub with our external partner, ESRI. So this platform, the Risk Hub, it actually accepts the approved Excel template in the system, and it converts and visualized in a dashboard way. And this conversion and all of these templates will be available in FSC Document Center. Only the published one will be visualized in Risk Hub. So the Risk Hub is mainly used for the visualization purpose. So where you can visualize the risk assessment data in a mapping way and also in a tabular way. So that means the whole Risk Hub is GIS enabled. So let me go through the Risk Hub demo. It will be then easier to understand for you how it actually works. Let me share my screen. Just bear with me. Can you see my screen right now? Just anybody can.
Yep,
Sir?
we
Okay.
see FSC Connect.
Okay. So if you want to explore the Risk Hub, first you can go to the connect.fsc.org, and then from the app palette, you will see a dedicated icon, Risk Hub. Once you click that icon, you will land on the Risk Hub landing page, where you can see the relevant information, a dedicated FAQ, where you can see the relevant answers in there. And in the top, there is a button, the Explore Risk Hub. Once you click on it, you will land on the main Risk Hub application. So once you have seen it, then it will give you a small pop-up in the middle of the screen where you can explore the general information, some terminology, and how to navigate the Risk Hub, that kind of information. Once you close, then the main Risk Hub interface will appear. As you notice, in your center of the screen, there will be a map, and one of the country is currently highlighted, the Romanian one, because currently only the Romanian risk assessment has been approved, and thus the data is available in here. In the dashboard, in our left side, you can see a bar graph, which actually represents different risk designation, how many negligible risks, non-negligible risk, and not applicable is there. And also the meaning of the different color representations, it also available in the left side. On your right side, you will deep dive into a more root level for each of the indicator. As you notice, currently it's showing 50 indicators. But if you filter down the data, you can actually browse all of the indicators. So if you click on the small button in here, you can see all the relevant information in there. Mostly the short risk description and risk mitigation info will be here. And in the top, there are some couple of buttons and a main filter is here. I will go into the top bar later, but let's focus on the filtering. So the first filter is representing the country. If you have multiple countries, you can choose one or multiple countries altogether. Then if your risk assessment has been done with subnational level data, you can also choose it from the geopolitical scale filter. And then the risk designation. Suppose if you choose non-negligible risk, you see it's already filtered on the right side, and only the non-negligible ones are showing in the right side. And there you can see the mitigation information along with the risk thresholds and a short description. And the fourth indicator is showing the indicator group based on the non-negligible risk. Here are the relevant indicator groups you can see. You can also filter them here. If you choose one like health and safety, then it's also narrowed down to 6 results. And finally, the last indicator, you can choose individual indicators. Right now, it's filtered down to health and safety, so we are only seeing 2 indicators. So if you choose one of them, it will give you only that indicator's information. And once you select the indicator from the indicator filter, then it will also change the mapping color in here based on the risk designation. Now, in the bottom of the Risk Hub, as you can see, there are a couple of more tabs in here. One of them is Risk Details. So if you click on the Risk Details, you can have a tabular view. Currently, it's filtered down to non-negligible risk and also the indicator group. If I remove those filter, if I click on Reset, then you can notice that the record in this table are increased. Same thing happens if I remove all the filters. And then we can move on to the third tab. It's another tabular view. It's all about risk mitigation document. Currently, this table is only linked with the country, not other filters. So if you have multiple countries, you can select one and see the relevant risk mitigation document information in this table. Now let's focus on the top bar. In the top, you can see a button named Document Center. If you click on it, it will move you to our FSC Connect interface, and where you can see the Document Center, and you can browse all of our normative documents in here. And the second one is the most important one for us. It's a dedicated feedback widget. If you click on it, your browser will open another tab in here, and then you can accept the privacy policy, and then you will see the couple of feedback options in here. The first one is published risk assessment. So if you want to provide your comments regarding the uploaded published risk assessment content, then you can do it in here and submit it. You can also upload a PDF file if you want. And same thing for technical feedback. If you have any comment regarding the technical details for this Risk Hub, you can provide it in here. You can provide a screenshot in here in JPG and PDF format, and then you can submit. And finally, the last one is if you just want to contact us regarding anything related to Risk Hub or risk assessment, you can just provide your email and name and then write your queries in here. And finally, there's 2 more buttons in here. One is the how it works. It's just the same as the first one. When we open the Risk Hub, it's just how you want to navigate the Risk Hub, that kind of information. And the last one is the sharing icon, where you can share this Risk Hub with your social media, or you can copy the dedicated URL for this Risk Hub. So yes, this is the overall Risk Hub. I missed one thing. I forgot to mention that we also have a dedicated URL for this Risk Hub, which is riskhub.fsc.org. So here I will stop right now and thank for being with me until the end. Thank you.
Fantastic. Very interesting. Thank you, Rahab. So now let's actually meet a bit more of the team and the experts that have helped develop and bring this product to us. This is, of course, from our partners, ESRI. Who is ESRI? Well, they were founded in 1969 and are based in Redlands, California. ESRI builds a family of products known collectively as ArcGIS, which is the world's leading geographic information system, or GIS, mapping software. This mapping and spatial analytics platform combines the science of geography with powerful GIS technology to help organizations such as FSC worldwide understand complex issues and challenges and make better decisions through the use of maps and geographically based data. ArcGIS technology is what powers the Risk Hub that you just saw, and as well as many other web-based map-based solutions being developed and in existence today within FSC. ESRI also includes a large professional services division whose consultants and specialists collaborate directly with ArcGIS users to develop and execute organizational geospatial strategies and implement related map-based solutions. And we're lucky to have some of these consultants on the call with us here today, who you can see on the screen. And as such, I will invite some to answer some questions that we have. And let's start with, how does the Risk Hub bring geospatial data capabilities? Perhaps Nick, you can help out with that.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Nick Herrick, project manager here over at ESRI. So the question being, how does the Risk Hub bring geospatial data capabilities? Ray did a phenomenal job demoing this, and one of the easier ways to showcase this is through a demo. But to keep it at a higher level, right? What we're doing with the Risk Hub and how it ties into geospatial data capabilities is that we're through it providing a mechanism to collect and store those risk assessments, but also use and visualize the forest degradation data, streamline data processing, and provide a much more transparent and interactive process than what was previous to the Risk Hub. We want to talk a little bit about the actual data within the dashboard, and I think there's no one better than Mackenzie O'Brien, my colleague, who helped build that dashboard. So Mackenzie, if you'd like to add anything to the question, feel free to.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Again, Mackenzie O'Brien, a technical consultant here at ESRI. I think one of the huge things that this dashboard does is to use the power of GIS technology and mapping technology to sort of bridge the gap between this very dense, complex information and make it easy for a user to kind of get a quick overview of what's going on just by taking a quick glance at the map, and being able to see across geographies and across a country subnational level what's going on, what are the trends within just a few seconds or a few minutes. That's it for me.
Great, thank you. So another question would be, we're talking about GIS tools. How do they help make FSC a data-driven organization, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think this is something that both myself and Travis can tackle. I believe most people here do know that GIS tools are central to FSC's evolution into that data-driven organization that you were just mentioning. And it's in part because those tools enable us at FSC to collect, manage, analyze, and communicate spatial data to everyone, right? It could be forest lands, supply chains, ecosystem services, and so much more. Transformation is quite visible. Travis, would you like to add anything here?
Yeah, thanks, Nick. My name is Travis Butcher. I'm a principal technical consultant and development team lead here at ESRI. Yeah, the tools that we were able to provide for the upload and mechanisms really allowed us to take a complicated spreadsheet that fills out a lot of the data for the FSC, for the risk assessment, and ingest that into the GIS platform into a structured data model. Once it goes into that structured data model, it allows us to build a lot of these products off of it, the dashboard that McKinsey saw. But then that data is central in the system, and it can be used with not only the risk assessment data, but it can be blended and brought in with a lot of other data that FSC has to really look at things in a holistic pattern and really allow that data to become much more intelligent and much more information about what you're truly doing. Thank you.
Thank you both. I want to talk a little bit about the G and GIS. And so FSC, thinking of FSC, how has this geographic approach actually boosted our mission here?
Yeah, I can take that one on. So hello, everyone. Mike Bialish. I'm a principal consultant and our practice lead for environment at ESRI. And in this capacity, I actually get to work with FSC pretty much on a daily basis on a wide variety of initiatives where geographic approach and GIS is being applied. And so, Yannicka, to your question, if we step back and think about FSC's mission, right, it's all about sustainable forest management of the world's forests, taking into account being environmentally appropriate, socially beneficial, and economically viable, right, with this management. And that's a lot to consider. I mean, if we think about what Nico said, right, 64 indicators in the Risk Hub, right, that are being considered. And all of these factors are truly interconnected and actually tied together by location. And so taking a geographic approach and leveraging GIS technology provides a way to bring all these factors together in a location-centric platform, to ensure that each is being collectively considered. And as an example, this approach enables the visualization through maps of certified forest lands around the world, having a way to analyze their impacts and values, such as ecosystem service benefits, understanding surrounding communities and being able to engage with those communities with maps, addressing threats and challenges to sustainable forestry practices, and really having user-friendly and understandable mechanisms, primarily through maps, right, to communicate all of this within FSC, out to stakeholders and to the general public. And as we know, FSC is a very stakeholder-driven organization, involving individuals, governments, businesses, NGOs, and a geographic approach really helps to distill down these very complex challenges and factors and their related data into an understandable form through maps and enabling collaboration through map tools with all these various stakeholders.
Great. Everything sounds wonderful for us at FSC, and you allude to stakeholders, and I want to talk about some of our most important stakeholders, which are our certificate holders, of course. So how can this, how else beyond Risk Hub can geospatial technology actually provide value to our certificate holders?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And geospatial technology really has the potential to provide a myriad of value to FSC certificate holders related to not only supporting the sustainable management of their lands, but also in helping to streamline collaboration with FSC. One of the most foundational ways that we're seeing this come together right now is through FSC's Motion 61. Which requires certificate holders to provide FSC digital maps of their certified lands. And so, Travis, you've been involved with the related GIS solutions that are actually about to be released relative to this. You want to talk about them for a little bit?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. The CAS tools that are about to release will allow the certified holders to upload their existing GIS data from their own systems in a variety of formats, shapefiles, KML, GeoJSON, into the system. These tools are designed to create a low barrier for users to get data into the system and ensure that they meet the needs for the certificate boundaries, that they contain the proper IDs, that the shapes are in the locations that the users believe that they need to be. The application will allow the users to review and update the data as it's submitted. So it's an interactive process that the users will be able to see their data, visualize it on the screen, and ensure that it is in the right spot. And then once the data are uploaded to the system and processed, the user can then print a downloaded version of the map to take with them. And now Mike will discuss some of the additional value for geospatial technologies.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Travis. So beyond Motion 61 and the CAS tools, some other ways we're actually already seeing geospatial technology providing value includes, being able to map, analyze, quantify, and communicate ecosystem services impacts, right, within certified forest land, such as positive impacts on biodiversity, carbon, water quality, and so on. When we think about FSC having the most extensive certified supply chain network globally for sustainable forestry, GIS is helping to enable the mapping and visualization of this network and all its interconnectivity, and helping to validate that wood is sustainably sourced, processed, and productized throughout its life cycle. Another really interesting aspect is actually understanding FSC certification standards and enabling certificate holders and stakeholders to provide input and feedback into these standards, which are actually coincidentally in the midst of a multi-year process of being updated now. And Mackenzie, you've had some involvement in some related GIS solutions. Do you want to talk about how GIS is supporting this?
Sure. Thanks, Mike. So I have gotten the opportunity to work on the Principles and Criteria Revision Hub, which essentially acts as a hub, a repository of sorts of related resources and information for any stakeholders who are interested in learning more about or contributing to the revision of the principles and criteria going forward. We've tried to use different aspects of our technology, including some of the more map and spatial based pieces of our technology, to make this a really engaging and hopefully aesthetically pleasing way to interact with the revision and engage with colleagues from across the globe.
Yeah, that's great, Mackenzie. Thank you. A final, kind of related, but final value of GIS that I just wanted to touch on really briefly is telling the story, right, of sustainable forest practices from all over the world and the immense related benefits. And we're seeing FSC not only using sites and resources like Mackenzie just described, but also using story maps, which combine interactive maps with text, photos, and other content to tell compelling stories. A couple of recent examples include how sustainable forest management is helping to combat deforestation and degradation in the Congo, highlighting the benefits of certified forest management on biodiversity in Brazil, Finland, and Sweden. And very much related to the Risk Hub, story maps are being used to illustrate how forest degradation is being assessed globally and being used as part of the EUDR risk assessment process. So again, just a myriad of benefits to FSC and certificate holders and its stakeholders.
Amazing. Super exciting. A lot going on. And I know we're very grateful and appreciate the ESRI team being a part of our FSC family. So thank you so much for all of your work and for joining us on the call today and providing this insight, inviting everybody on the webinar. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and use that Q&A box and the ESRI team can support. And now I would like to introduce my colleague Dory to talk about some upcoming FSC risk assessments.
Thank you, Janica. Hello, everybody. My name is Dori Pavlovska-Georgievska, and I work as a process portfolio manager for the country requirement general functions program at FSC International. I will provide some update on where we stand with the risk assessments today and what is coming up. Currently, we have 30 FSC risk assessments already underway, out of which one already completed. My colleagues already mentioned the risk assessment revision for Romania. And where you can see all those processes is dashboard on FSC Connect. The link will be shared with you in chat, in which you can track this development. The dashboard looks like this. So here you can see all of the processes and which stage they are in at the moment and how the progress is going. Also, there is one stage of focus consultation for the centralized process processes or public consultation for the national processes, in which you interested stakeholders are welcome to participate if they click on this button and choose the upcoming consultation stage in which they would like to participate and provide their contact details. Now, this is just the beginning. 30 so far, but we have an ambitious goal of completing risk assessment revisions or developments for a total target of 90 countries. So we need to open up processes for more countries. Currently, we have an open call for consultants to conduct risk assessment revisions or development in some countries. That was opened on 25th of June and it's closing on 10th of September. So some more time left for whoever has the capacity, interest to submit proposals and undertake this work, which should be going on during 2026. The countries in the open call are the ones that you see in the screen: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Bolivia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Colombia, Croatia, Denmark, Eswatini, Guatemala, Honduras, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Mexico, Papua New Guinea, Peru, Poland, Republic of Korea, Slovenia, South Africa, Thailand, Uruguay. I know that you could read this by yourselves, but I wanted to make sure that we focus on this more. So, how does it look to work on a risk assessment revision and what it means for a country? Who else can tell us better than the team that already has the first revised risk assessment according to the new risk assessment framework, which Nico presented earlier? So I'm happy to that we have with us today the representatives of the Romanian team. That is Alexandra Popa, the Market Development Coordinator at FSC Romania, and Florin Halalishan, Vice Dean at the Faculty of Silviculture of Transylvania University in Brașov, that had the role of a process lead in the process. So thank you for being with us, Alexandra and Florin, and we are eager to hear your experience in this process. So Alexandra, first of all, congratulations for having the first revised risk assessment according to the new framework. And it's interesting to know what this revised risk assessment means for Romania. What impact will it have on the forestry sector, if you can share with us?
Thank you, Dori, for the kind introduction, and hello to everyone. I'm happy to say it loud now already for the second time today. Yes, it is a reality. Romania has the first revised risk assessment under the new framework. And this is excellent news, as being pioneers in this process has been both a source of pride and concern during the process. This document sets the framework on how to assess and mitigate the risks of sourcing material in Romania. It has been addressed with great responsibility by the process lead team and the stakeholders involved. We all understand that incorrect designation leads to false solutions and unnecessary bureaucratic burdens. So the objective was to have an honest and comprehensive picture of the forestry sector. I congratulate the process lead team for their involvement and for elaborating such an important document. Currently, the risk assessment offers the most comprehensive and accurate overview of the risks that need to be addressed within the Romanian forestry sector. It also brought into our attention the areas where we should focus our efforts to strengthen the validation of some indicators, ensuring that the process is as transparent and clear from an external perspective as it is from within the team. Romania has now a ready-to-use risk assessment available for everyone with a clear structure and consistent mitigation measures for control route certification, due diligence, and compliance with the latest regulations, including UDR. We encourage all interested parties to use it as the best available information.
Thanks, Alexandra. And now I would like to invite also Florin. And Florin, congratulations to you and your team for the great work done as process lead in conducting the revision of the risk assessment for Romania. Could you share with us what were the key factors that led to the successful completion of the first revised risk assessment?
Thank you, Dori. Hello to everyone. I am Florin Hălălișan, and I represent the Transylvania University of Brașov of Romania and the team that worked to develop the first risk assessment according to the new FSC procedure. Faculty of Silviculture is one of the flagship faculties of the university. For many decades, the only faculty that trains specialists in the field of forestry in Romania. So I'm happy to be today with you and honor and to share some information. Thank you for this opportunity. From the beginning, the start of the process is very important. The first draft is a crucial and essential part of the process. A good and quality first draft is a good start and the right way to finish in time. The assessment process is about experts and stakeholder engagement. A team with the high expertise on forestry and forest certification is crucial for the project success. This expertise ensured that the assessment was not only methodological sound, but also contextually relevant to the specific condition in Romania. It's important to mention that 2 experts from our team was involved in the past in developing the first risk assessment in 2017. Also, as a team, we participate in different projects, including developing the National Forest Strategy or the New Forest Code. The university participation added scientific credibility and provided a crucial and a neutral platform for dialogue, for engage a wide range of stakeholders and building the trust. Additionally, we form a working group to have the base data. The selection of the qualified working group was another critical factor. This group likely consisted of diverse experts from the field, academia, NGOs, or companies. Their varied perspectives were essential for a comprehensive risk assessment draft that considered all the relevant angles. I must mention the important connection with the FSC Romania that provided local knowledge support as another key factor of success, which were vital for navigating the national context and engaging with local stakeholders. Alexandra is here. Thank you very much. As he mentioned, was a wonderful collaboration with an important input. We received the great support from the reviewer from FSC International that provide an external layer of quality control. This support ensured that the assessment met FSC rigorous procedure and maintained its integrity. Finally, meeting the deadlines of all stages was the key to maintain momentum and the stakeholder engagement. A well-managed timeline ensured the project stay on the track, allowing for the timely dissemination of results. So today we have the best and the real picture of Romanian forestry sector into this risk assessment. In the end, I want to extend our gratitude to the FSC for the guidance and to reviewers and stakeholders for the contribution. This achievement was a truly and collaborative effort. Thank you very much. We hope for the future collaboration, and we invited you in Romania to see our beautiful forest. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Florin. And I can also say that on behalf of my colleagues from our team, it was a truly pleasure working with you and your team also on this process.
Thank you very much.
So, Alexandra, back to you. Florin mentioned the key role of the FSC Romania as the network partner in the process, even though this was conducted as a centralized process. So could you tell us a little bit about that experience, the role that FSC Romania played and the lessons learned along the way so that other countries could also benefit from those experiences?
Sure. Thank you, Dori, for the question. First, let's see what the risk assessment framework says about the role of the network partner. If we refer to the centralized processes, network partner and national representatives contribute from the very beginning to the selection of the consultants together with FSC policy and performance unit. I think this is a very important step, and we have been successful with this one, selecting the best team that provided expertise and dedication. So the second role the network partner and national representatives play is to ensure the engagement of the key stakeholders by contributing to the proposed list of stakeholders and distributing it. Here we joined forces. The consultants have developed a dedicated web page to ensure the transparency of the process and to facilitate the contribution of all interested parties. A third, less obvious but important role is the support provided throughout the process and very important during the negotiation of the conditions. If there is consensus, it is a strength, of course, and our experience as pioneers demonstrates that the valuable arguments provided by the process lead team, supported by stakeholders during the public consultation and confirmed in the end by the local office, are the foundation of the final decision. We are proud to say that stakeholders representing all chambers had the same motivation. We had consensus and maturity in the designation of each indicator. And last but not least, don't be shy, don't be afraid to adapt the global framework to fit your specific national context. The goal is to adapt, not just adopt. So good luck with the process to everyone.
Thank you very much, Alexandra, also for being brave to do that. And as you saw, the Risk Hub will be filling in with more countries to come as they are completing along the way. Now I would like to give the floor to my colleague Terry to present how FSC Risk Assessment enables stakeholders. Thank you.
Thanks, Dory. My name is Terry Campbell. I'm the Senior Expert for Chain of Custody at FSC International, based here in the Policy and Performance Unit. And I'm here to talk about the benefits of both the new risk assessment framework and some of the dashboard benefits as well. Some of you have already heard some of these, but we just wanted to make sure that it was pretty crystal clear, because this is a very exciting day in the FSC community as far as being able to roll out our new framework, as well as this very nice visual representation of the hard work that our colleagues in Romania have conducted. And so first, yeah, the goal with the risk assessment and with the FSC initiative to make them centralized is to reduce the burden on our certificate holders from conducting these risk assessments, because they can be very costly both in time and money, and they are really important to underpin our certification by making sure that those non-certified inputs are coming from forests that we know what the risks are. So this risk assessment framework also needs to be updated. It needs to be reviewed on a regular basis, and that's a burden that we're going to be taking off certificate holders as well by updating these regularly. And the platform, the dashboard, as you saw, provides a pretty great feedback mechanism for that. The center column here is kind of covering what I'm calling the 3 C's, but it's the comprehensive nature of these indicators, it's the clear structure, and it's a consistent set of assessments. And so the comprehensiveness, we all know the world is getting much more complicated, and our old risk assessment framework, which was based off of 5 control wood categories, has now been upgraded to be addressing a lot more environmental and social issues that are concerning society and certificate holders and many of our stakeholders. So it's very robust. And then the structure, it's important that the structure be an improvement as well. We had 5 control wood categories in the old risk assessment, and now we have 64 indicators that are much more detailed. So you can actually see what the indicator is. You can sort of see what the threshold was, and you can see how it was assessed and what the risks are. So the structure of it is much more clear, and I think that made it a little easier for us to represent it and present this on a dashboard like the Risk Hub. I don't think we could have even dreamed of presenting the old risk assessments on an ESRI type of dashboard. So, and then lastly, consistency. We're working in a global business and in a global climate, and these this framework needs to be consistent around the world. So our certificate holders and stakeholders who buy and sell from different countries or are considering such, they can use a similar framework. Lastly, on the far right here, this public dashboard, I feel like we will empower more of a diverse group of stakeholders to engage FSC on the risk assessments, and will allow them to provide us feedback on what they're seeing on the ground in a specific country. And the old risk assessments, again, were PDF documents, 100 to 200 pages, and were very unapproachable for many stakeholders. But this new presentation is much more in line with getting more people empowered about what's going on in their country, or again, a neighboring country, and giving us feedback. So, so just lastly, a couple user groups that we've had in mind when we were designing this, the Risk Hub. One is our control wood certificate holders, those companies that have control wood in their scope. These risk assessments will start to replace the national risk assessments, or in some cases, the extended company risk assessments further down the road as they roll out, as Dory's schedule becomes reality over the next 3 years, and we have 90 risk assessments. So that'll help. So again, lower the burden for you having to transition your current risk assessment or national risk assessment, because we're doing it for you. These risk assessments in their essence can be used by companies around the world, whether they're certified or not. So if you're working for a company that buys products in different parts of the world, forest products, and you want to assess the risk and understand what's going on there, by all means, go on the dashboard. It's free and available to the public. So go on the dashboard and you can really start to learn, and you'll start to see and hear from us when more countries start populating the dashboard. But it's really a tool out there for the global community to use to help due diligence and decrease integrity issues. Lastly, and it's been mentioned, but yes, EUDR has a very big component around risk assessments, and this Risk Hub we think will allow certificate holders and those that are considering either EUDR or adding the regulatory module that we offer. This will help them understand the risks available in different countries. It'll help them understand mitigation measures that they may be able to take to transition that from a non-negligible to a negligible risk. So these are just some of the benefits we're hoping the market and our stakeholders enjoy, and we're looking forward to hearing from you about these and understanding if there's more. So I'm going to pass it back to Yannicka at this stage, and thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Terry. So before we wrap up today, let's talk about some next steps and how to stay involved. Dory, as we mentioned, and some others are about to be really busy. And so we have consultations being launched all over the place, and we really invite you to join those consultations. You can stay informed on them through our FSC News and Views newsletter, and also on the country requirement schedule. There is now a link placed in the chat, and there we are keeping the page up to date to inform you around upcoming and existing consultations, and always invite you to participate. We have now launched the Risk Hub. It's super exciting. And as Rahab showed you, there is a feedback form incorporated into that Risk Hub, and we are keen to hear from you what you think, what additional features would be interesting, where your questions, and there we can adapt updated frequently asked questions documents and guidance documents to help our stakeholders navigate this new platform well and have it to be of most benefit as possible. A lot of this work, as you heard from Alexandra and Florian, are based on and thanks to our local offices, and we really appreciate that and invite everybody to keep staying engaged with their local office, to continue to update and provide input into their local FSC risk assessments. And as mentioned, a lot of these updates are included in the FSC newsletter called our News and Views. So be sure to sign up to it, link in the chat if you haven't already. We have some important URLs for you. And this is, Rahab showed you a bit about how to get to FSC Connect and access the Risk Hub. But if you want a quick link, you can go to riskhub.fsc.org. And we have a dedicated web page on FSC Connect to learn more around FSC risk assessments and access information similar to what Nico talked about today. And that link you can also see, and it's also posted into the chat. And we'll maybe give a little bit of some time in case any last minute questions come through. So far, all is good, and want to sincerely thank everybody for joining us at the call today. I want to give a big thank you to our guest speakers and our staff who have taken the time to present today. And also a reminder that this is being recorded, so you will be finding this presentation later on our YouTube channel. And a big thank you to our wonderful interpreters so that we can have a more global audience join us today.